playing it.
Greetings. Can you hear me?
Hello, greetings, brother Siayome. It's brother Saad here in the studio. We are playing your signature tune, actually, but
All
as
right.
soon as we put you on, it stopped that tune. So yes,
Okay.
welcome. How are you?
Okay. I'm well, thank you, brother. How you been yourself?
Good, good. Yes, it's nice and warm here in the studio. Outdoors is a
Yes.
bit cold, but yeah, it's not too cold. It's all right, really. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. How are things?
Yes, things is well, man. Riding these waves in the flow, staying in the flow. I was listening to part of your show just
Right.
now. Um, Interesting. Um, it's interesting because it kind of in a contrast, to what my show is going to be about today in the Cosmic Root Show. Are you going
Okay.
to be sitting in with me this evening?
Um, I would do. I just have some things I need to deal with. So let me say, I will be back, and I'll let you know when I can do that. When I can actually
All
join you.
right.
Yes. So yes,
Okay.
no, but
That's
it's all. I mean, the last week's show was great. So and
yes.
it was
Yes.
nice to get appreciation actually from your listeners. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that with me. And so yes,
Yes.
because that
Yes.
means we are doing something good for people, which is this is what it's all about. Why we're here,
Exactly.
to enlighten people, not to like showing off, but simply sharing what we've been allowed to receive or with people, and it's benefiting them. So it's good that we're doing some good.
Uh-huh. All right. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I suppose I will just commence with the show now, Um because last Tuesday, wow, there was a lot packed in that, you know? There was a lot packed in there.
Yes.
But yes, take care, Sard. We'll catch up soon.
Yes, please. Take care.
All right. Yes, brother. Okay. So, brothers and sisters, as we go and start this evening show on Cosmic Roots, reality of one's true self, roots, y'all, cosmic. So, yes, you are on Bless Radio 1. Also, blessradio.co.uk. Can tune in, connect to that. Us on the internet. You can also tune in live on YouTube right now, and yeah, catch this while it's in the flow as it is. So yes, wow, just gonna hit the ground running there, you know. So last Tuesday's show was about, yes, the new moon in Sagittarius, but it was, yeah, you know, dealing with soul essence energy. Well, basically, you as the soul. At the same time, on that time of the new moon, I was saving it for today. We had Neptune go direct. So it's very interesting the things going on now. The things coming out through the media. You got your Labor sitting, or what you got, Tory, what conservatives, what you got. You got this voting thing coming up in around what, 10 days, 9 days. On the 12th of December is going to be a full moon in Gemini. Anyway, a lot of things also on the outer world when we look at the mirror reflection, okay, because the outer, what you're perceiving outside, is still an external reflection, a metaphor of what's going on within. So, yeah, how one is reacting differently to the reaction is the moon dealing with your ego, personality. I've talked about this before. And then you got your soul, your real self, your true self. Now, we've had Neptune go direct, y'all. And Neptune going direct is basically where the revelation of basically delusions, illusions, ideals that have now come to light. Yeah, revealing what the fallacy of what they were based upon. But really, it's people who create their own delusions. It's when we project various expectations and meanings that we seek outside of ourselves upon the mirror or upon a person, individual, groups, this and that, politicians. And when we project what we reject in ourselves, then we create a delusion, and then take that as a reality, which actually is an illusion. And then we have these ideals based upon how we project an ultimate meaning onto an individual or an idea, concept, or, basically what happens is from the moment that individual or that situation steps out of role, they fall off the pedestal, and now you feel, oh my gosh, disappointed, you feel deceived. Oh, look how you are. You start running down the individual who you idolized. And really, it all begins from one's first perception. But that's hard to swallow when we're more identified with ego personality and in the reactive emotions of the moon, which is why the moon is what is used to mass manipulate the consciousness. That's where it sinks in. That's where it connects. The moon, yes, is the emotional body, emotional security. So the need for emotional security is within everyone, everything, to feel safe and protected. But the perceived emotional security that is based upon the ego personality construct, this now comes under the psychology of the ego, right? The moon represents that. That's why the moon, Luna, is also lunar, and you got lunatics. Well, the lunatics have escaped the asylum, and they're running behind, what you call a system. So Neptune's gone direct, y'all. And we have the moon today at 6 degrees, getting close to make a conjunction to Neptune. So there's going to be the emotional and subconscious memories of displaced emotion, no security patterns, ego reactions, and a lot of stuff is out there for enough ego reactions to feed the energy into these situations out there. Okay? Let me just tell you something a bit about this Neptune move in direct. But what is Neptune? Because it's just, again, it's like I'm doing a few shows where I'm correlating astrology into consciousness expansion information that I'm conveying and transmitting this evening. But it's not really an astrology per se. Everything's interconnected, y'all. But these energies are within you. They're within you. So Neptune, check the word, tune, Neptune, tune. So tuning in, this is about vibrational frequencies. It's about that which transcends forms, concepts, whether they're mental, emotional, or energetic, I should say, or physical. This is the aspect of oneself which enables you to connect with source. But let me explain here, because there's a dual nature to this. Hence, Neptune governs the sign Pisces. Pisces got the two fishes, right? One's spiritual, one's mundane. Yeah? One's about tuning into the spiritual source of oneself. The other one is getting caught up in the mundane, temporary world and experiencing, the pain and sorrows that come with attachments to the temporary world, the mundane, the ups and the downs. So you got that duality, and therefore there's a duality nature in this energy as Neptune, because the soul carries a coexisting dual aspect to itself. But I'm going to go into this, y'all, because why is it so important understanding this direct of Neptune? Because Neptune correlates to the need, the desire, and intent to realize the nature of illusions, delusions, dreams, and ideals in the deepest possible sense. So this aspect promotes the need to dissolve any barrier or boundary that is preventing a direct alignment or relationship between the individual and the creator. Now, the thing here is that most individuals unconsciously fear letting go of the sense of egocentristic identity. So this is where, ouch, the illusion is going to get pulled, okay? This is where understanding, just like look what's going on with the media and so forth, things that's coming out. I don't want to kind of go too much into getting into the politics and the many tricks which are being used to deceive you, but people play into the same thing. They play into it themselves based upon the level of awareness expanded within you to be able to step back and reflect enough to question, okay, the thoughts that, the things you're being fed with, okay, in a society that really is systematically controlling people through shaping your perception. If you can shape people's perception of themselves and the way they perceive the world, then you are controlling their consciousness. And this is how it's done, because you can't really physically control all the people. Think about it, yeah? I mean, when you think about even, military, I mean, you still need people to, all right now they're dealing with the AI and all of that stuff, but still at the moment, still people who are picking up arms and, that make up this militant military energy of resistance, fighting against, rather than understanding how to align with the flow, the stream of consciousness. So you see it's egoic-centered creations or behavior that creates the militancy, the military. So even that, though, what you can do, control all the people, what, go kill them off? The point being is that you can't control all the people, okay, physically. So the way it's done is through manipulating and shaping people's perception of whatever, okay, especially about themselves and the way they view the world. And then also shaping people's perceptions about other people based upon how the media shapes people's perceptions. So the media is also, it rules on the Neptune based on illusions, delusions, the TV, the movies. That's kind of scorpionic when you're dealing with the dark energies. When I say that, when you're dealing with, the blackness, like you see, like for example, that film, The Matrix, that came out in 1999, and the whole black getup and the black trench coats and the underworld, Pluto, Zion, the only city alive with people and so forth after the machines took over. Well, all of that is that black you're seeing is scorpionic. It's dealing with deep psychological, deep mysteries, deep stuff. Okay, deep truths that a lot of on the psychologically egocentric level, that would be their holy fear would be there with that, because the ego, the personality, is a construct. It's programmed, it's conditioned, but it has a purpose, but it's not who you are. Like your clothes have a purpose, but they're not who you are. For some people, they do define themselves by the clothes they wear and stuff like that. But you can see the egocentric point of view or attachment or identification there that is fostered in a society, okay, to keep you caught up in illusions and delusions and dreams, yeah, and ideals, false ideals. And there's a need there's a need to realize the nature of what illusions, delusions, dreams, and these false ideals at the deepest possible level are made out from, so you can free yourself from them. You don't get caught up in having your perception of yourself and how you perceive reality manipulated anymore by the media, the system. Okay, but many people are caught up in delusions, illusions, and false ideals and so forth, and they will end up having to experience the pain of that when, the peel gets taken off the eyes. You know what I mean? As they would say, the wool. So Neptune correlates to this deep desire, but it also is on a level where it's the purpose of dissolving these illusions and delusions, and for these forced dreams, forced realities, and ideals, is in order to dissolve any barrier or boundary that is preventing a direct alignment or relationship between the individual, thyself, and the creator, the source of all that is, the original creative spirit of life. And as I said, that most individuals unconsciously fear letting go of the sense of egocentric identity. So because of this, this is behind the pain and suffering. It's like, why there's so much pain and suffering? In order to realize the divinity within ourselves. So there's this, what's the meaning of it all, you see? Well, Neptune gives you the answer, but the answer comes only when you can step up to align with a transcendental belief system and value. And this is what the whole thing with Neptune being in retrograde in Pisces, its ruling energy, was about. And when it made a square with Jupiter, when Jupiter started to go direct through Sagittarius, and it's now 0 degrees Capricorn. So Jupiter's getting ready to come out and out of Sagittarius to enter into Capricorn. So you're going to see some consolidation, crystallization of certain truths, certain transcendental truths. You see. Because the whole thing was, even with this retrograde, the Mercury retrograde going through Scorpio, it's now at 22 degrees is where Mercury is. So we're not out of the retrograde yet. We're still in the retrograde shadow. It's only when Mercury passes over the 27 degree point, then you're out of the retrograde shadow. So a lot of things are coming up as Mercury's going forward. It's like dragging up that which you dug up when you was going retrograde. Now you're dragging up to light all of the corpses, all of that stuff. The energies you absorb that didn't come from you, that wasn't yours. You see what I'm saying? Because you absorb energy. But the point being is that now a lot of things seem to be coming up. Mars is inside Scorpio. Yesterday, 2 days ago, somebody got thrown under a train. I was going somewhere to South London, and trains were kind of halted because that stuff. That's Mars and Scorpio. Certain nearby, not too far away, there's some stabbing and stuff. So there's you're seeing that as soon as Mars and Scorpio come up, the way people are thinking, what people can't let go of, what they're holding on to, and the delusions people are acting from. The illusions, the mental created dream realities that they're following, they're chasing after. These false ideals that you project upon others, these things where you expect, all these high expectations you put on other folk, and yourself may not even match up to none of that. So all of these ideals and stuff, putting people up in pedestals for them to play a role within your holographic world, right? And the funny thing with this thing, when I mentioned the Matrix as well, it's described as a neuroactive simulation for your mind. So it's your mind trap. It's your mind. It's your mind. And I've said many times that you're not your mind. You're not your emotional body. You're not your physical body. These are constructs that are there for a purpose, but they're not whom and what you is. So let me say something else here now, because This is again correlating to the soul, and this is what these energies, the amplification of the cosmic energies coming through. These waves, I mean, come on, man, they're being felt, and how everyone individually, collectively, whatnot, reacts to this, or how they work with it. You see, there's two things there. You can react through the egoic resistance, putting up fights, this and that, fear, projecting illusions you got going on in your mind. Many people identify with their thoughts. They don't even ask the question, is this thought even real? Because you need to have a certain degree of awareness to be able to step back, from the thought, to be able to see that, well, hang on a minute. I'm observing this thought. This isn't me. To be able to start to dissolve these illusions. Because too much mental identification, everybody's just trying to think their way through life with thoughts that ain't even flipping real. What's the reality behind the thoughts? So this is the thing which fosters the delusions, what you want to believe, without any direct contact with that which you seek to know, which is ultimately yourself. So Neptune, as I said, is going direct. Instead, Neptune is about dissolving all barriers, all boundaries, all borders, that prevent one from having a direct connection with the source of being. Now, this is the soul. This is you waking up to yourself. So now let me deal with something here. I've mentioned before that Pluto, these energies are all within you, These are deeper aspects of your consciousness. The 12 signs is also the 12 apostles, the 12 magi's. You're dealing with the 12 disciples. You know what I'm saying? The 12 cranial nerves. There's all these correspondences to what the 12 really is about, and it's all about you. You see what I mean? Attributes within oneself to bring into, you can say, bring into balance for one to direct their own faculties. Because the reality of it, you're creator beings. We're vibrational creator beings of light and source energy, you see? So the soul, let me just say something here on the soul. See, the energy of Pluto. Now I'm talking about these planets, but these are consciousness. These are conscious energies. And as I said, there are aspects and faculties within you, whether you conscious of it or not. You see what I mean? Many people aren't really conscious that they're breathing all the time, but it's happening, whether they're conscious of it or not, right? So it's, a vital aspect. So Pluto correlates to the soul. Now, this is the thing now. The soul is the creative source. You see, when we talk about even raising our vibrations and this idea of gratitude and ungratitude, or grateful or ungrateful, it's like there's still an approach to it from this old gray-haired, grandfather type of image of God. You must, oh gosh, you're so ungrateful to God, and God, this external thing. Those things, you can't tap into true gratitude with those type of belief systems where you're dealing with this force identity about yourself. Because when you're dealing with what you're going to call God or the creator or all that is, this correlates to your soul. So, and your soul is the non-physical reality, that makes the physical reality possible. It's like all physical laws are actually built, and their basis and foundation is based upon the universal laws. Just like the natural laws is foundation is all based upon the cosmic universal laws of existence. So one's the foundation, the other one's the produce from that. You see what I'm saying? So that's with your physical laws. But you have to understand the foundation of those physical laws and natural laws, which is the cosmological, the metaphysical, the universal cosmic laws of existence, you see. So So this is what Neptune wants to bring you home to. But it first has to dissolve all of these barriers, mental barriers, emotional barriers, physical barriers based on conditioning that prevents your direct connection with the source of your being. And this makes it seem so like, yeah, but it's so nebulous and so forth. And, there is this thing here, again, this question about the soul. It always comes up, Um, is there a soul? What is the soul? Okay. So, how you going to really prove this or prove that? The soul is a spiritual thing, and it's God and all of this and that. Now, those kind of questions come from mental concepts, and I get how it can, to the thinking mind, to the intellectual mind. Okay, something that you're going to buck up on a limitation to your thought process. Okay, and then most of the ideas, main ideas in the mind are just concepts. Okay, mental realities being created, which are illusions, because your mind, basically, the purpose of your mind as a tool is to integrate reality through it, not create mental realities. Okay? It seems a bit confusing there because people tell you got to create with your mind. And it's like, well, yeah, but your mind is a creative tool which is directed by the light of consciousness intelligence, the universal light of consciousness intelligence as your soul, the cosmic being that is you. So that then now is really the mind being directed by the cosmic being, the cosmic consciousness intelligence, the creative energy. Okay? That the mind now is a creative tool where you focus the attention, the energy is going to flow. You see? So the mind can be pertained to the light, but it's lit up by the consciousness intelligence of the cosmic being as your soul. You see what I mean? Radiating itself through it. Okay? It's awareness. So the mind's purpose is to integrate the reality of your soul. So you can consciously become aware as of yourself being the creator being, rather than this egocentric individual. Yeah. So, but the soul now, let me hit something here. Pluto correlates to the soul and the evolution, the unfoldment of the further expansion and fuller expression of the soul, which is the purpose and the intention of why anyone's here. Okay? But it's the life itself that oneself is, and it has its own intention for itself. So I'll clarify things as I continue. Pluto correlates to the soul and evolution. So what is the soul? So according, because folks can go to books if they need be. So according to not just any old books, but according to many spiritual, religious, and metaphysical sources, including the Bhagavad Gita, which is actually 10 chapters of the Mahabharata. Okay? There's a bigger book. Bhagavad Gita is 10 chapters from a bigger book. Okay? But according to, including sources like Bhagavad Gita, and you also got the Nag Hammadi Library, which is not stuff you're going to find in the Bible, but also the Bible as well. Well, it shows you, and in the Upanishad, for those who, check out those things. But basically, even in these things, in these scriptures, the soul is an immutable consciousness. Yeah? Immutable means it's unchanging. Okay? It's a consciousness that doesn't get conditioned to become something other than what it intrinsically is. Right? That's your soul. Your soul is immutable, unchanging consciousness that has its own individuality or identity that remains intact from lifetime to lifetime. Okay? In each lifetime, of course, the soul manifests a personality that has a subjective consciousness and unconsciousness. Your soul, now, the bottom line is like how you know that the soul exists. Okay? How you know the soul exists is because we all have desire. What's the meaning of desire? Some people, because of, where they, well, we deal with the Buddha and desire to suffer, the source behind all suffering is desire. So you get the idea that, oh, well, desire, we should desire, And the thing is that you can't desire because everything is based on desire. Life itself has a desire. But it's not based on the kind of desire, it's based upon the human, the egocentric individuality, the egocentric point of view. It's not dealing with, that's not the desire of life. However, life is what gives itself, is what's given this body energy. Yeah? What allows you to pick this body up and move it where you want to move it consciously. Okay? Or even unconsciously, because many of your functions, many things, as I said, people are breathing. It's an everyday function, but more times you're unconscious of your breathing and don't even know really what your breath is really, what really contains is in your breath. It's more than just the air you breathe, which is that physical aspect. Okay, there's the non-physical energy that you breathe in with the air. Okay, which is the life of source that's within you and all around you. I will get back to that part. So it's desire. Okay, so let me go a bit deeper with it. Pluto correlates to the soul, as I said, and the soul now, the creator. Okay, each personality that the soul manifests, your soul creates the house. Your personality is a construct. The soul manifests it. And it manifests these personalities from lifetime to lifetime. And the personality has an ego, as the ego, all right, correlates to the moon, as I said before. So the moon, or your ego, operates like a lens on a camera. Without the lens on the camera, you cannot see any images. Everything will be diffused light. Just breaking down these metaphysical, beyond physical principles here, or to understand what I'm saying. The difference between your ego personality, but it has a purpose, to the actual builder of your personality. Okay? Like the ocean, I've used this analogy before, is actually the generator of the waves. So you can see the ocean as your soul and the wave as your personality construct. Now, if you are egocentrically centered, then your focus is going to be on the wave, and you're going to believe you're this separate individual construct that is separate from the actual ocean. Now, we all know in reality, when you see, no matter how high a wave is, okay, it's never separate from the ocean. Now, to the degree one is more soul-centric, meaning their identity is centered on the ocean, determines how more free your consciousness is from being more unrestricted from the force identification, for you to be able to expand that light of awareness to be more in control consciously, you could say, of where you're directing your creative energies to how the world you're creating, what you're creating in your life, okay? And where you vibrationally line up with based on your vibrational signature frequency. I'll go into that a little later too. But yeah, there's quite a bit to get through here, so I'm not rushing it. So within the soul now, I said the bottom line, how do you know you got a soul? Because you got desire. And if you look up the word desires, it's related to stars. Yeah, it's related to stars. Just look it up. I'm not going to break it down. So desire, okay? So within your soul now exists two coexisting desires. Now, I've said this before. Maybe I'm not haven't gone so deep into it like I'm going to go into it a bit now. But if you're familiar with it, you've heard it before when I've said it. Just check my previous shows. So within the soul, there exists two coexisting desires. One desires to separate. One desire in the soul is to separate from that which it's drawn its being out from, or some would say that which it was created, right? What created the soul, or what generated that wave, yeah? The other is to return to source of being, the source of creation. So there is these two coexisting forces, energies, desires within your soul, yeah? Within the life force of you, okay? Your soul. And it's the interaction between these. Now, these are apparently opposing, between these apparently opposing desires, okay? They're apparently opposing, but they are not on a deeper level, because it's what is necessary for the soul to further expand and grow, okay? So it's not judged as good and bad from the soul plane, okay? That is based, that type of perception won't get you to understand yourself, because you're coming from this egocentric, separative, non-integral perspective on things. And plus, people's perception has been manipulated about everything, right? So we're dealing with the soul's got these two coexisting desires, okay? One is separate from the source of its being, and the other is to merge, reunite with the source of its being, okay? The creative source. So the interaction between these apparently opposing desires is what instigates the drama, okay? The drama of the personal, individual, and collective evolution. There's a collective evolution as well as the personal and individual evolution. This is why what's the energies coming in now is affecting collective consciousness and the collective unconscious. Okay, this is why it's this stuff. This is why it's like, look, you can deny something's happening, but it's like denying that fire's hot, and you can try and put your hand over it, and try to, and you're not feeling no fire, like you put a lighter over your hand or your hand over a flame. But that fire is gonna kick in, right? It's like, shit, man, that's hot. You're gonna have to move your hand. You know what I mean? Unless you want to go into some trance state and not identify with your body and all of that business, which is possible, but why? You want to do that to prove what? But anyway, when there's much more than that, little exercise. So the point being is that the energies are such intensified that it's like, come on, you know what I mean? And it's going to ramp up and it's kicking up. So the drama, okay? The drama of personal, individual, and collective evolution of further unfoldment and expansion of the soul, okay? So the desire now is the determining force. The soul's desire is the determining force that dictates the reality of each individual. The interaction of these desires determines what we think we need. And that which we think we need determines the choices we make. The choices that we make now determine the actions that we initiate. And now the actions that we initiate determine the reality that we experience. So then now actions lead to reactions, which lead to other actions. You see what's going on? So this process, I'm sure you get it, is the basis of what is being called karma, cause and effect. So from a soul level, this is why each individual as a soul actually comes in here as the soul for the soul's evolutionary purpose or desire or impulse or intent. And when you're in alignment with that impulse, that desire, that intent of the soul, you are working with your own evolutionary unfoldment in this incarnation, okay? And working through your stuff and dissolving what limits you to expand the light of your consciousness to become more liberated and more self-realized, to become more conscious of the creator, cosmic creator being that you are. And we begin to have more, we allow the divine will of our soul to direct, itself through its structure, the manifestation, the construct it created, the wave, to create on this realm through your mind and emotional and physical body. That's the relationship, okay? So your soul and the desire of your soul is the bottom line of what facilitates this whole evolutionary process. And this is not about your personality, like, oh, what choices are made, you see. We've set up the cause and effect for what one is experiencing as their reality in this present, to say whether, well, my intention wasn't bad or my intention was good and it wasn't bad, or it's like, that don't matter, because it's your soul which is the cause. Your soul is the one that creates all the next, structures for itself for its own purpose, okay? Which is to evolve, which is to expand, okay? Which is to express itself fuller, to become fully self-realized within its creation. See, within its creation. Becoming self-created. Waking up to the reality of you being creator gods, which means that you got to get rid of all of that guilt crap of blasphemy. How dare you say, you're a God. But you see, when I say God, it's not in the egocentric sense, which is based on the theologian stuff. Based on what many people are still conditioned with when they even think of God. And they're still identifying with the personality, okay? So I've just explained how the karma, how our lives, our experiences, what we're experiencing now, how it gets set up. It's gets set up from the soul's level, okay? The soul. And desire is the bottom line, okay? Desire. So Neptune going direct, while it was going retrograde, it was like, listen, man, a lot of things have been revealing itself that you thought was real, that you thought was the thing, you thought was, you found, you chased after a dream and you think you got it, just for it all to dissolve and melt in your face, okay? A lot of things that appear to be one thing is turned out not to be what you thought it was. See what I mean? And this is happening in various different ways, okay? as it's all falling out now to be exposed, okay? But the thing is to bring your awareness to the level where you question your beliefs and all this preparation of actually having to let go of limiting beliefs. Now, this letting go of limited beliefs was requiring you to do so in order for you to be able to expand into more of a transcendental, you value okay, and awareness of yourself. This transcendental value and awareness is what aligns to the spiritual dimensions of your existence rather than to the mundane and keeping you trapped within the suffering that comes through the force identification of who you believe you are on an egocentric level to this plane. So suffering becomes a thing where it's self-induced because everything's based on your choices, free will. I said that the soul has within it, my soul, your soul has within it two coexisting desires, okay? One to separate from source and the other to re-merge with source. Now, we see how these coexisting principles also exist in everything around us. We breathe in, we breathe out. Some of you on there might have, thought, oh, you was going to use that one. But also, we come together and we go apart. You see what I mean? Yep. So you're seeing there is that unification, the merging, and then there's that separation. Okay? You have things that are built up and then they are broken down. You see what I mean? So you're seeing that dual coexisting principle existing within, creation and expressing itself in different ways, but it's that basis, that principle, that's still the same principle, that dual coexisting energy that is expressing itself, okay? So this separation and this to reunite and merge is the driving desire within the soul that creates perpetual evolution. So now, the separative desire, these what get you caught up in delusions and illusions. But out of the separative desire, you actually learn from it, you see? So it has a purpose. It acts as the shocks needed to throw one back into oneself to, tune in to inward to oneself, to activate one's evolutionary process, to begin to spiritualize your life. See? So to then realize, hang on a minute, you want to burn out that type of desire because all it does is brings dissatisfaction. And then you got the separative desire in the soul, which is actually out of the two, the more positive, the more stronger, the more potent of the desire. However, the coexisting desires of separation and merging plays out the drama, okay? Plays out the drama. So this is how karma is created. So therefore, on a soul level is where you have to understand your life, understand yourself, and stop resisting yourself. Because then, based upon that, this is what causes people, or, when you disincarnate now, you come back to play the same thing again. Okay? Soul don't mess around. But if you get too caught up where you've just had so many lifetimes of the same stress, the same sorrow, the suffering, this begins to burden the soul, and then the soul says, yo, enough. So then forces start to get directed and organized to remove those barriers, those blockages in the path of the soul. And this is why things can get cataclysmic, because more times the unconscious fear, people have an unconscious fear of letting go of the egocentric individuality of what they call identity. So it gets cataclysmic. So then people die, suffer. People kind of try to go, why there's so much death? Why there's this and that? You know what I mean? Even when you're dealing with things where you think people are victims, And I know that certain levels of info, man, the ego, cognitive dissonance, and think that someone is, oh my gosh, making a mockery of a people's suffering. When I say that even within the suffering, or when we think about victims, is the vibration those individuals was carrying in themselves, what they feel deeply about themselves, that drew to them to the vibrational matched frequency for someone to abuse them. Okay, that's deep and that's real, but it's like from the egocentric point of view. So you blaming that victim for what happened to them? You know what I mean? What? Outrage. What? You know what I mean? This child, this child, this person didn't deserve none of that. No one's saying anybody flipping does. Nobody deserves abuse, and no one deserves them kind of treatment. However, you have people that the way they feel about themselves. I don't know if you've ever flipping, experienced, being around someone, and because of the way they feel about themselves, it makes you feel like you want to slap them because that's the way they feel about themselves. Yeah, you have to know what I mean. You have to experience, be honest with yourself. The point being is that type of energy is what, when people carry a certain vibration in themselves, and this correlates to Venus, the way you relate to yourself, sets up an inner vibration. This feeling is inward. This is different to the moon and the emotions and the reactionary aspect of displaced emotions, and how we actually reflect the emotional imprint of our mother. Because the moon represents your mother, the mother, emotional security. Whether it's man or woman in the chart, the moon represents your mother. So if you're acting out, reacting, the way you emotionally react and stuff, inwardly and outwardly, that's your mother. That's how your self-image was formulated, based upon, whatever was impressed upon you to conduct yourself in a particular way. And if you didn't conduct yourself in that way, then, you'll get, either emotionally or physically, on you. And all of that permeates into your aura, as a child, 0 to 7. And this is how you're beginning to see yourself. This is why it's called your ego construct, your personal self-image, based upon your early conditioning through the emotional security of the mother. The mother. Whether there was coldness and withholding of any warmth, of emotional nurturing, because, they're disappointed in you, you didn't behave in the way that, conduct yourself in the way that they, it depends on your parent, man, what kind of intensity and stuff. Or, if you do, then, you get kind of like, get validated. But if you don't, you don't. So that creates a lot of emotional displacement, and people react from their ego, emotion, their personal self-image. This is what constructs your egocentric individuality, the sense you have of yourself, which is not who he is. But, you can mold and rechange that, you see. You got to change your self-image if it's not positive for you. It's not healthy because these emotional reactions are coming from subconscious memories of, pain. And, when the way you may have been disciplined and all of that, the folks around you. But that's what I'm saying there. But when you're dealing with your inner feelings, Venus, that feeling stays within. Yeah. So that's what I mean about the inner vibration and feeling. Is how you are relating to yourself at the deepest level. So this is what sets up the inner vibration. The individual could be very unconscious of this, because when thoughts get real deep, hits the subconscious, becomes subjective, it becomes feelings. So feelings are thought at the subjective level of the consciousness. So this is what then now becomes a feeling, a vibration, an inner vibration an individual carries with them, okay? And they could be unconscious of it because they're not in self-reevaluation. They're not doing that, becoming present enough to evaluate their thoughts, okay? To where, how they really, really feel about themselves at a deep, deep, deep level. Now that's the energy that is drawing to individuals or pushing away individuals from other individuals. This is what draws the situations in your life to you. So I said that the physical laws now, that would be governed by Mercury, or all that thinking, intellect, and all of that, right? That's physical laws. But I said that the foundation of physical laws and natural laws is the cosmic universal laws of existence. So that's the foundation. So if you're coming just from the physical laws and don't see the bigger picture of the metaphysic beyond physical information, cosmological understanding, yeah, the study of the cosmos in you, yeah, or, you know, have a receptivity to wisdom, philosophy, love of Sophia, philos, love, Sophia, wisdom, to love wisdom, to tune into wisdom teachings, spiritual wisdom teachings to nourish yourself with. Then if you don't embrace that, then what I've just said is going to be very irrational to the intellectual thinking. For one to get deeper into themselves, you know, the whole thing about deep diving, yeah, into the ocean of consciousness of yourself, of your soul. So as I was saying, that desire is what sets up and facilitates the evolutionary. So what's been going on is the purging from one's, stripping away from one's psyche, consciousness, the false identifications. Okay, this is what's everything has been going on. As I said last Tuesday, but I'm not going. You listen to the show, you know, to get a catch up on that. And the thing is that what I'm saying here, I would say, look, if you like the contents of what I'm saying, right? Because I do go into it deep. But if you like the context, then put a thumbs up on the like. Because if you do, then the more I see, then I'll say, okay, I'll go into certain things more deeper on these areas. Okay, the more likes I may get to indicate that, okay, you know, folks are resonating with this level of info. So the soul, right? So the desire, okay? Desires. Now, wooey, so Neptune has gone direct. So now, I said last Tuesday, or I mentioned a time before about the spiritual heart. And I said I was going to go into that, but I kind of didn't because other things came through. So I went into that instead. But, so let me go into something else as well that's going to correlate to this. I talked about the soul, which correlates to Pluto. I talked about Neptune, which is about dissolving all these illusions, delusions, false ideals and dreams, you know, the illusion and mental creations. These are barriers that prevent the individual from connecting directly to the source, the creative source. Now, because I said everything begins with desire, it therefore means that all your desires are coming from your soul. But what desire you act upon, as I said, the coexisting, is your free will and choice. So you come here to really know yourself. Why do I desire what I desire? Because, as I explained, how it all works to create the karma. As I said, that based upon the interaction of